My name is Grace Harlow, and for most of my adult life, I believed danger was something distant. Something that happened to other people, in other neighborhoods, in other families. Never mine. Never me. I lived in a quiet suburban town outside Portland.
I kept a garden in my backyard.
I baked on weekends.
I called my son, Ethan, every Sunday.
My life was predictable, comfortable, and safe. Or so I thought. Before I begin this story, I want to thank you for being here. If you enjoy deeply emotional and cinematic storytelling about real people surviving real danger, please remember to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe. Your support helps bring stories of resilience and courage to others who might need them. Now, let me take you back to the first moment something felt wrong, even though I did not realize it yet. It began with a phone call. It was late, approaching 10 p.m. I had just washed the dishes and was preparing for bed when my phone rang. It was Ethan. He rarely called this late, so I answered quickly.
Hi, sweetheart. Is everything all right?
He hesitated for a second, just long enough to feel strange. Yeah, everything is fine, Mom. I just wanted to check on you.
Are you alone tonight? I laughed softly.
Well, who else would I be with? Of course I am alone. There was another pause. All right, he said. Good. His tone was not relieved. It was conflicted, as if he wanted my answer to be something else. But he changed the subject quickly and we talked for a few minutes before hanging up. I went to sleep that night thinking nothing of it.
But the question stuck with me.
Why ask that? The next evening, around the same exact time, my phone rang again. It was Ethan. Hi, Mom.
Are you alone right now?
The same question. Same tone.
Same Hesitation. I furrowed my brow.
Yes, honey. I am alone. I usually am at night. Again, a long pause before he said, Okay.
Just checking.
This time, he sounded disappointed. Not relieved. Not reassured. Disappointed.
Something inside me stirred. A quiet discomfort.
But I brushed it aside. Mothers do not assume their children are hiding something dark. We assume it is stress from work, or loneliness, or needing comfort. But I was wrong. The question was not about comfort. It was about danger. Danger that was already inside my home. Over the next week, Ethan called every single night. It did not matter if I had already spoken to him earlier that day. It did not matter if he was traveling for work. It did not matter if he sounded exhausted. He still called, still asked, always the same question. Mom, are you alone? At first, I joked about it. Sweetheart, unless a celebrity magically appears in my living room, I am always alone. But he never laughed. Instead, he always sounded tense. Distracted. As if he could hear something in the background he was searching for.
Listening for. By night 7, something inside me refused to ignore it. Motherly intuition.
Fear.
Suspicion.
I could not name it yet, but I felt it.
Something was happening.
Something Ethan knew and I did not. And it frightened him enough to call me every single night. On the 8th night, I finally asked. Ethan, I said gently, is something wrong? You have been calling me every night this week.
He inhaled sharply, then exhaled slowly, too slowly.
I want to make sure you are safe, Mom. His voice cracked on the word safe. Safe? From what? Or from whom? Sweetheart, I said, trying to steady my heartbeat, what is going on? There was a long silence. Finally, he said, I cannot talk about it yet.
Just promise me something.
Anything. If you hear anything strange, anything at all, call me immediately.
Do not check it yourself.
Do not go outside. Just call me. My blood turned cold.
Ethan, you are scaring me.
I know, he whispered. I am sorry.
Just trust me.
And answer me honestly each night when I call, all right? It is important. Important how? I will explain soon. I promise.
He never promised lightly.
So I believed him. But that night,
I barely slept.
3 days later, on a Thursday night, I heard something. A noise.
A soft tapping from downstairs.
Then a creak. Then silence. At first, I thought it was the house settling. It was old, after all. But then I heard it again this time, the slow, deliberate sound of someone stepping onto the wooden floor. My heart lurched. I froze in place, straining to listen.
Tap. Pause.
Creak. I reached for my phone with trembling hands and dialed Ethan instantly. He picked up on the first ring. Mom. Ethan, I whispered, I think someone is in the house. Everything about him changed at once. Get out, he said sharply. Right now. I cannot. What if they hear me?
Mom, listen to me.
You need to leave.
Do not confront anyone.
Do not look for anyone.
Get out of the house right now.
My breathing sped up. Ethan. I am coming, he said.
Stay on the phone with me. Walk quietly to the front door.
Do not go to the kitchen.
Do not go to the basement. Just the front door.
Why? I whispered, shaking violently.
Why the front door?
But he would not answer. He just said, go. Now. My legs felt weak, but I forced myself to move.
The floorboards groaned softly beneath my feet.
I felt eyes on me even if I could not see anyone. But when I reached the door and slowly, Mom, he whispered, I am so sorry. I should have warned you sooner. Warned me about what? He loosened his hold, but his hands kept gripping my shoulders, steadying me. There has been a man in your neighborhood, he said quietly. A man the police have been watching. I heard something at work that I should not have heard. He has been breaking into houses. Watching people. Especially older women living alone. My stomach turned. Why did you not tell me? He swallowed. He told someone the police were questioning that he was saving someone for last. Someone he had been watching for weeks. My entire body froze. Ethan looked away, shame and fear clouding his face. And Mom, the description he gave matched your house. My knees nearly buckled. So that is why you called every night, I whispered. You were afraid he was in my house. Ethan nodded slowly. Yes. I needed to know if he was with you. I needed to know if you were alone. Tears filled my eyes. Ethan. Why not call the police sooner? Why not tell me sooner? I had no proof, he said. And I was told not to repeat anything I heard. But I could not ignore it. I thought if I checked on you every night, I could protect you. Protect me. He was trying to protect me. Even when he was terrified himself. I hugged him again, my heart aching with gratitude and fear. But the nightmare was not over. We were only at the beginning. Because the next night,
the night I lied,
was the night everything unraveled. And the night I survived because of that lie. The next evening, Ethan told me to stay at the motel again. But stubbornness, foolishness, or denial made me insist on going home. I cannot abandon my house, I said.
I will lock the doors.
I will be fine. Ethan did not want me to go. His eyes filled with dread. But I comforted him like he was still my little boy.
I will call you before bed.
I promise. He reluctantly agreed. Around 9:45 p.m., I sat in my living room, all the lights on, doors locked, windows secured. When my phone rang, I answered immediately. Mom, Ethan said, breathless, are you at home? Yes. Then came the familiar question, the one that had haunted me for nearly 2 weeks.
Are you alone?
I opened my mouth to answer automatically. Yes, But something stopped me. A noise. Not loud. Not obvious. Just the softest shift of weight on the floor above me.
A footstep. My blood ran cold.
Mom. Ethan repeated urgently.
Are you alone?
I swallowed hard.
Everything inside me screamed to tell the truth.
But some instinct deeper than logic whispered. Do not say you are alone. Do not let him know you are vulnerable. Lie. Lie right now. So I did. No, I said.
I am not alone tonight.
Ethan froze.
I could hear it in the silence.
Who is with you? He asked carefully.
My neighbor, I lied.
He came over to check the locks. He is still here. That one sentence, that single lie,
saved my life.
Because upstairs, in the shadows, someone else had heard it too. And everything changed in an instant.
I am not alone tonight.
The moment those words left my mouth, the air in my house shifted. It was subtle, but I felt it like the walls themselves froze, as though something hidden in the shadows had suddenly stopped breathing. My lie had not only changed the tone of the conversation with my son. It had changed the intentions of the man upstairs. I had no proof he was there, not yet. But I felt it with every instinct I possessed. Someone was in my home. And now, he knew I was not alone. Ethan inhaled sharply on the other end of the line. Mom, who is with you? I kept my eyes on the ceiling, watching for movement, listening for breath, for a floorboard, for anything that could betray the presence I already sensed. A neighbor, I lied again, forcing calm into my voice. He came by to help me check the locks like you asked. I did not ask you to do that, Ethan whispered. I closed my eyes. I know, I said, lowering my voice. But I needed an excuse. I needed him to hear it. The silence that followed was the kind that feels like falling through ice. Then Ethan spoke, his voice shaking. Mom, do not hang up. Do not move. I am calling the police right now. I barely had time to respond before I heard it. A step. Slow. Deliberate. Measured. Not the sound of someone fleeing. Not panic. No. This was someone assessing. Calculating. Waiting. The stranger upstairs had heard my lie, and now he was deciding what to do with that information. Another step. A shift of weight. A faint scrape against the wooden floorboard. I pressed a trembling hand over my mouth, afraid the sound of my breathing might reveal that I was not, in fact, accompanied by anyone. Grace, Ethan said, suddenly using my first name the way he did only when he was terrified. Listen to me.
Get out of the house.
Right now. I cannot, I whispered. He will hear me. I do not care, Ethan said, his voice urgent and breaking.
Mom, please listen to me.
You need to leave.
Go through the front door.
Go now.
No, I whispered.
If I move, he will know exactly where I am.
There was another sound upstairs.
Not footsteps this time.
Something else.
A drawer opening. Something being shifted. I tried to
Grace. My blood froze. The room tilted.
My heart slammed so hard against my ribs I thought it might burst.
He knew my name.
He should not have known my name. Mom.
Ethan whispered. What is happening?
What did you hear? I did not answer. I could not. Because the stranger called again, this time closer to the top of the stairs. Grace, who is here with you?
My skin crawled.
He had heard me. He had believed me. Or maybe, he was trying to confirm. I stayed silent, praying he would think I had stepped outside, praying he would not attempt to find my visitor. But prayers do not always come true. He began descending the stairs. One slow step at a time. Ethan heard my breathing quicken and his voice cracked through the phone. Mom, do not answer him. Do not make a sound. Stay exactly where you are. I nodded even though he could not see me. The man's footsteps reached the bottom of the stairs. I turned my head slowly, inch by inch. And there he was. A man in his early 40s. Dark jacket. Black gloves. Eyes that looked far too calm. He tilted his head, studying me like a puzzle he had not expected to find solved. So, he said softly, where is your friend? My heart stopped. He is here, I whispered, praying my voice did not shake as badly as my hands. The stranger's lips curled into a faint smile. Really? Where? I forced myself to hold his gaze.
In the kitchen, I lied again.
He is calling the police. That made him pause. His eyes narrowed, calculating, suspicious, not fully convinced. But something had shifted. My lie had worked once. I prayed it would work again. The stranger stepped back, glancing toward the kitchen, toward the unseen figure I had invented. Then he made a decision. He turned toward the back door. And he ran.
Within minutes, Red and blue lights lit up the street outside my windows.
Officers surrounded the house, guns drawn, flashlights sweeping the yard, voices calling commands into the darkness. I stayed on the phone with Ethan until the moment a female officer entered the living room and said, "Ma'am, you are safe now."
Safe. The word collapsed something inside me. All the tension, all the terror dissolved into shaking sobs.
I handed the phone to the officer with trembling fingers. "My son. Please talk to him." She took the phone gently. "This is Officer Ramirez. Your mother is safe. We are securing the perimeter now." I could hear Ethan exhale in relief through the phone speaker. I hugged my arms around my chest and tried to stop shaking. The officer led me outside, wrapping me in a blanket as police moved through the house. Ethan arrived minutes later, running toward me, pulling me into the tightest embrace he had given me since he was a child. "I am so sorry," he whispered over and over. "I am so sorry I did not warn you sooner." I clung to him, sobbing into his shoulder.
"You saved my life," I whispered. "Ethan, you saved me."
But he shook his head.
"No. You saved yourself."
If you had told the truth, if you had said you were alone, he might not have run. I froze. The truth of that sentence struck me like lightning. My lie was the only reason I was standing there. Alive. Breathing. Held by my son. 2 hours later, after the search, after statements, after exhaustion had sunk deep into my bones, the police sat us down. Detective Collins, a tall man with tired eyes, held a file in his hand. "Mrs. Harlow," he said, "we need to tell you who the man likely was." My stomach twisted. His name was Dean Harker. He lived only 3 streets away. He had been arrested before twice for stalking and unlawful entry. In both cases, he had targeted older women living alone. But that was not the worst part. Dean had been seen in my neighborhood several times over the past month. Neighbors had reported a man walking slowly past my house at night. But no one thought it was serious. No one called it in. Dean had a pattern. He watched. He waited. He studied. And according to the detective, he never approached a house unless he knew the person inside was alone.
My blood ran cold.
Ethan squeezed my hand.
I understood everything now.
Why he called. Why he asked. Why he sounded afraid. He had overheard someone at his workplace, someone connected to law enforcement, mention a stalker in my neighborhood targeting women who lived alone. He had pieced together enough clues to fear I was next. And he had tried, in his own terrified way, to protect me without causing panic. I burst into tears, overwhelmed by a mix of gratitude and horror. Later, when the police stepped away, Ethan finally told me what he had been hiding. "I promised I would not say anything," he whispered. "But I could not risk losing you, Mom. I could not." He cleared his throat, trying to steady himself. A co-worker told me that the stalker had described someone as his final one. Someone he had watched from afar. Someone he said was perfect because she never had people over. I felt the room tilt. He said the woman lived in a house with a blue mailbox and tall rose bushes in the front. My breath caught. My mailbox was blue. My rose bushes lined the entire walkway. "So, I called you every night," he said, "because I needed to know if he was already inside." I covered my mouth, tears spilling down my cheeks. If he had not called, if I had not lied, I might not be alive. Detective Collins returned with one more detail. "We found footprints under your living room window," he said. "Fresh ones. He had been watching you tonight." My heart stopped. He was waiting for the right moment, the detective continued. "If you had told him you were alone, that moment might have been tonight." A wave of nausea rolled through me. I clung to Ethan again, unable to stop shaking. The detective's voice softened. "Mrs. Harlow, your lie saved your life." I barely slept that night. Even after the police left, even after Ethan insisted on staying with me in a hotel, even after officers began patrolling my street, I could still hear his voice in my head. "Grace, who is here with you?" That haunting softness. That too familiar tone. That eerie calm a predator uses when he believes he has already won. But he had not won. Because of a single lie spoken out of fear, but shaped by instinct, I had slipped through the cracks of his plan. Still, one truth lingered, heavy and terrifying. He had been inside my house. He had been watching me for weeks. He had known my routines, my loneliness, my habits. He had chosen me. And he had nearly taken everything from me.
Ethan sat beside me at the small hotel breakfast area, untouched food growing cold in front of us.
He kept glancing at me every few minutes, as if checking to make sure I was still breathing, still here, still alive. "Mom," he said quietly, "I need to tell you something else." I looked up. His eyes were tired, rimmed red with worry, fear, and guilt.
"Ethan, you have done enough. You saved my life."
He shook his head.
"No.
I should have told you sooner. I should have warned you the moment I suspected something." "You did warn me," I said gently. "Every night." He looked down at his trembling hands. "Mom, that man." He said something else. I felt my stomach knot. What did he say? Ethan swallowed hard. He told the person interrogating him that the woman he had been watching reminded him of someone.
A chill slid through me.
Reminded him of who? Ethan hesitated. Then he whispered. His mother. The room spun. "It is why he fixated on you," Ethan continued, voice barely audible. "He had this idea that you were gentle, predictable, easy to isolate, easy to approach, easy to control." My breath trembled. "He chose me because I reminded him of the woman who raised him, or the woman who failed him, or the woman he blamed, or the woman he wanted to hurt. It did not matter which. It mattered only that he saw me as an echo from his past, a target he could mold into his narrative. And I had no idea. Later that day, the police escorted us back home so I could gather essential belongings and begin the process of installing security measures. When I stepped inside, the house felt different.
Not like a home.
Like a place that had been violated. Every shadow felt heavy. Every corner looked darker.
Every room felt unfamiliar.
Ethan stayed close, one hand lightly on my back, guiding me as though I were fragile glass. Detective Collins walked ahead, pointing out areas they believed Dean had used to enter the house. "This window latch was tampered with," he said. "And here these marks on the frame? Those were made recently." I stared at them in horror. He had entered more than once. "Do you know how long he was inside?" I asked quietly. Collins nodded. "Based on the dust marks and the footprints, we think he entered at least 3 times in the past 2 weeks.
My knees weakened.
3 times. 3 nights when I was asleep, unaware, unprotected, breathing softly in the dark while a stranger watched me from the shadows.
Ethan grabbed my hand.
"Mom, we are changing everything," he said firmly. "Locks, alarms, cameras.
You are never living here alone again."
Tears filled my eyes. Not from fear. From gratitude.
As I walked into my bedroom to pack a small suitcase, a strange feeling tugged at me.
Something in the room felt wrong. Different. Displaced.
I scanned the room slowly: bed frame, curtains, nightstand.
Then I saw it. The top drawer of my dresser was slightly open.
I never left it open.
My heart tightened as I stepped toward it. Inside, the contents were familiar scarves, a few old letters, a photo of Ethan as a child. But they were arranged differently. Shifted. Touched. Someone had gone through them. My throat tightened as I whispered. He was in my bedroom. Ethan's hand clenched around the dresser. Detective Collins approached, examining the drawer with calm, clinical professionalism. "He went through your belongings," Collins said. "This confirms a level of personal fixation. He was not here to steal. He was here to watch. To feel close." I felt sick. "He would have returned," Collins said softly. "If you had told your son the truth last night, we believe he would have approached you. He was waiting for the moment you were alone."
I closed my eyes, tears slipping down my cheeks.
One lie.
One single lie.
And it had broken his plan. Later, as officers installed temporary locks and additional patrols were set for the night, Collins pulled me aside. There is something you need to understand, he said gently. Men like Dean. They choose targets carefully. They study behavior.
Routines.
Vulnerabilities.
I swallowed, uneasy.
You did nothing wrong, Collins continued.
You were simply living your life.
He is the one who did something monstrous. But why me? I whispered. The detective paused, considering. Then he said,
Because you are kind. Because you live alone.
Because you remind him of something unresolved in his past. Because you fit the narrative he created in his mind. He looked into my eyes. But you also did something he did not expect. You took control.
When you lied, you shattered his illusion.
That is why he ran.
I nodded slowly.
It was not strength that saved me. It was instinct. And one split-second decision. But it was enough. That evening, Ethan sat on my couch while the officers finished their sweep of the house. He looked exhausted. Older than he should have. Burdened by guilt no one should carry. Mom, he said softly, I need you to know something. I turned to him. What is it? If he had hurt you, I would never have forgiven myself. I took his hand in both of mine.
Ethan, you protected me.
You were the only one who knew something was wrong.
You checked on me every single night.
And you came as soon as I called. But I should have told you everything, he whispered.
I should have insisted you stay somewhere else.
I should have gone to the police sooner. You did what you could with what you knew, I said gently. And that is enough. You saved me. He looked away, tears filling his eyes. I thought I was going to lose you. I reached for him, pulling him into an embrace. You did not lose me, I said. And you will not.
Because of you, I am alive.
He held me tightly, his arms trembling around me. And in that moment, I realized something powerful. No matter how old our children become, they still protect us the way we once protected them. Dean was arrested 2 days later. He was found hiding inside an abandoned property only a mile from my home. Inside his backpack, police discovered a notebook filled with notes about my schedule, maps of my neighborhood, photos taken through my Windows A plan with dates circled, including the night I lied. Ethan read the report before I did. When he finished, he walked outside, stood in the yard, and cried. Not because he was weak, but because he had carried fear alone for too long.
After the arrest, Detective Collins spoke with me again.
Most victims of stalkers never know how close the danger truly was, he said. You survived because you trusted your instinct at exactly the right moment. But he was wrong. I survived because of my son. Because he listened. Because he acted. Because he refused to ignore fear. Because he refused to leave me unprotected. Sometimes our children save us in ways we never expect. I did not return to living alone. Ethan moved back home temporarily. Then permanently.
We renovated the house together. Painted the walls.
Changed the locks. Upgraded every window and door. Installed cameras and alarms. But more importantly, we rebuilt trust, closeness, and understanding. Every night, now I call him.
Ethan, I say softly, are you home?
He always smiles at the question. Yes, Mom. I am home. And that simple exchange has become our ritual.
Not out of fear.
But out of gratitude. For the danger we escaped.
For the life we still share.
For the lie that saved everything.